the same. Got some money, but I always stay the same. But I never fuck with y'all, you niggas lame. If you making moves, you know it's love with me. Yeah, thought that I would change. See, that negativity is not the way. Seen you niggas try to go and run my place, but it'll never ever lead you to my place. Yeah, thought that I would change. Got some money, but I always stay the same. But I never fuck with y'all, you niggas lame. Yeah. Chasing the billy, if I'm in your city, I gotta get paid for the show. Here for a minute, get litty, sip Henny, then I hop right back on the road. This level is nothing, I can't even focus.
Cameron Bennett fourth, good to see you guys. Cliff is here with me, and we're gonna do some troubleshooting. Cliff was sitting on my lap there. All right, Cliff. So what happened was I zipped up the files, and then I downloaded them, and I was just getting the same thing. So let's go into.
Did you DOS to Unix them?
I remember we did that, and then I thought I reran everything after we did that. So what I did last
Did you
night,
run it on the HPCC?
I thought
you ran the DOS to Unix on the HPCC.
Yeah, so I thought we did that the last time we met, and then I reran them, and so I thought it didn't work, but it had been a little while, right? So what I did was I reran the DOS to Unix command last night when I noticed this, and then I reran them. So now we should be able to just see if in fact that did it, because I know I did this time. CD, shape MABE. All right, the thing I think I should do is check that last condition, right? With 4 foods. I can't type 7. All right. Yeah, just LS this right now. All right, now it should be in the first 5. What? LS C7. $1,005. Isn't that tab completing?
Put a slash after it and see what files.
Yeah. That's what I'm.
All right. You're on.
What am I doing wrong here?
You're on Gateway. You didn't.
It's frick. You're right. Absolutely right. SSH. Dev. Intel. 20. I have to turn my lights on. I can't see. I'm sitting in darkness. All right. That's not right. AMD 20. All right. Let's try this again. CD, shape MABE. All right, here we go. I have to look at my keyboard. All right. Yeah, that's the issue. And to be honest with you,
All right, so no, we're not.
hang on. All right, go ahead.
ls-al, that without the slash. We look at the output, we see what the error is, we don't make assumptions.
What did you want me to do? LSAL this?
ls-al C7 tab 1005 no slash. And we're going to see why we don't have more data.
1005. You said no?
No slash. That's going to show us the path.
Right. All right. And then
we're going to cat or head. It doesn't matter.
this part up until this whole thing, right? Up until the C7?
Until C7, you're going to put underbar 1005 instead. You just paste that down.
All right, copy. What the heck? Is it
middle mouse? Right mouse copy, middle mouse paste.
I don't think I have a middle mouse on this thing.
It's just it's there.
Oh, there it is. All right. All right. And then
C7 underbar 10 tab. Enter.
All right, that's the file.
All right. So core dump. Okay.
I think that's what we were getting before.
Sure. So there were two different errors we were getting. One of them was because your code was not handling the fourth food. The other one was because we had some issue with map having to be
segment
cast
vaultation.
properly.
Yeah.
So it's. I don't. I mean, you had me work on this like weeks ago. I don't remember what the solution was. I sent you the solution. I can go look it up in my email, but I don't know.
So I thought the solution to this was the DOS to Unix thing. I'm pretty sure we fixed the for food thing. The other thing is these don't all not run. So it's kind of a pain for me to look at it in the HPCC because I don't have anything mounted, right? But if you look here in like what I've got from the previous run, so there's no snapshot there in 101. They're all there in 102. Not there in 103 or 104.
Sure. Well, I mean that's a seg fault.
Weird.
That's a seg fault. That's undefined behavior, right? We're not doing something that forces a crash. We're just doing something that may result in a bad allocation of memory.
Yeah, I didn't get, and I got one of the, yeah, it's so spotty. All right. I guess my question is, do you think this is a segmentation thing, or do you think this is the optimizer? You don't think this is the optimizer, right? If we're getting some of them to run fine.
I don't know. I mean,
it could be. It could still be the optimizer.
You sent me a problem. I replicated the issue. I don't even see my response here. So I don't know if I might have deleted the message that I sent with the fix.
I can check. I'll check my email back here. All right, Cliff. It's Rob. All right, wait, you said this, should I try the fix I mentioned? There you go, Cliff, one attachment. Yeah, the fix you sent me was on December 29th. It was the DOS to Unix thing.
Right, on small front.
On small front. I did DOS to Unix on all of the .txt and CFGs.
Right, which is not going to cause any problems. So it's not that. But this segfault, I thought that this was, I mean, this should have. Oh, well, no. So, okay, let me see that output from the log file again.
Sorry, say that again.
I want to see the output from the log file.
Sure.
So scroll up to the beginning where it says like loading Berry World or whatever. All right, so it says loading Berry World. Has 4 inputs, 4 resulting, 20 inputs and 3 outputs. And this makes sense. Yeah, Perfect Sensor has 4 inputs, which is forward, double forward, left forward, right forward. So it has a down for 4.
Cliff, you know what I think I haven't tried?
16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That's correct. This is correct.
I don't think I've tried running it like this with just running it on my local machine, right? I think our preference was to get it run on the HBCC, but would it have been useful to see if this deploys on my...
No, because this issue was not happening when we ran it locally. This only happened when we ran it online.
So we're pretty sure.
Yeah, but I'm gonna check something else over here.
Okay.
Because now that I've seen that, I can test mine.
All right, gang, just a friendly reminder, after this meeting, we will be reviewing that whole what if Christians were honest, masked off thing. It should be right around 2 o'clock. All right. Let me see what's going on in the chat. Oh, that's a crazy score, Carrie Ann. I just saw that. Cliff, Vegetative State asked if the project is set up to use breakpoints where you can use thread view or stack view. Is that a debugging IDE thing?
Yeah, but the problem is we've got an error that only occurs on the HBCC. So we'd have to do the debugging on the HBCC. So it's a
bitch, it's a pain in the ass.
Well, well, actually, no. That was the other problem. So that problem's fixed. The problem is that it's a seg fault that occurs at an unspecified point in time because of it right out of range, most likely. So yeah, we could do some kind of sanitizer or something, but I generally try to avoid those because I find that it takes more time to get them set up for me personally. So I'm not familiar in working with them because I can usually find these things pretty quickly.
Right, like when you debug, you don't go with the breakpoints and all of that stuff typically. Yeah.
Because usually it's an incremental change that I've made, and so it's in the new code.
Absolutely.
And, only a couple times have I actually been bitten in the ass by that, and then had to pull out a debugger. But every time I do it, I have to relearn it.
Yeah, relearn the debugger.
Yeah, I just don't remember how they work because my brain doesn't work that way.
No, I totally get it. If you guys are more interested in that, though, we will be revisiting our C++ code, and we'll be getting into some buggers there, just for learning functional programming. So stay tuned if you've got a bug for debuggers.
I'm just going to try to set this thing up on my side.
Yeah, no worries.
See if I can. Yeah, that's what I need. Snapshot. 100 social rhythm. Okay. Schools.
Purple is oranges live. Is purple is orange, Sunny? Cliff, somebody said they just saw you at a live, or you just had somebody's live?
No.
Purple is oranges? Okay.
Got nothing.
Can I make a guess here, Cliff? You're at Beacon in what used to be Louise Mead's office.
I think it's actually Danielle's office.
Ah, so right. Close. Next door. Next freaking door. God, can you tell I spent time at that place?
They all look
They all look the same. They all look the same. That's pretty good, huh? Like, I'm not impressed.
No, I'm not impressed. I want results, man.
Me too. It's driving me crazy.
So the thing was, this segfault issue was happening when the data structures that you were using to capture the number of foods eaten were not large enough. That was when we were getting this segfault. And you made those larger, and that fixed that problem. So I'm really surprised that this is happening again. So I'm taking the code I have, which I believe was the latest, and I'm going to I had only run up to 100 gens, but I'm going to run it for real now.
Like 10,000?
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be an issue too, because I think in the ones where it's failing, let me see. I think when the ones it's failing somehow, I'm getting that 100 snapshot. Right? So there is some chance that maybe that wasn't long enough. Because most of the ones that fail on me, I actually do get the second snapshot, that would be. But yeah, if yours works, I'll just back propagate your code. Oh, purple is orange is where his nerdy rodent is at. I got it.
I just have to let these run to see if they crash. I mean, they're running.
Yeah, you just running it on your local machine.
No, I'm running it on the HPCC.
Ah.
If it runs on my local machine, I'm not impressed.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, okay, everything is running.
Do you want a particular seed to try?
No, it shouldn't matter. 1, 2, 0, 5. This has been running for 1 minute. Right, snapshot 0 and snapshot 100.
Good afternoon, Dave.
71.
Thanks for stopping by on your lunch break, Liz. We appreciate that. Yeah, we're troubleshooting right now, Liz, but we'll definitely break down the project at another time for you guys. I do that pretty regularly. How smooth is Gather running? It's running pretty smooth right now.
Okay. All right. So we core dumped for me too. Okay.
Now that's at least we're getting the same problem, right? That's
right. Well,
yeah.
I mean, you had me fix the one problem, so this is a problem.
Yeah.
All right. Let me see if I can.
And you had DOS to Unix drawers too, so that's right.
No. This has nothing to do. It would fail before that.
Ah, I got you.
I mean, the thing is.
Oh, right. When we did the DOS to Unix thing, we got the fail in the header, right? Like we didn't have the right number of inputs or whatever.
We would see that we have the wrong number of inputs.
Yeah,
if
that's
we have
what
the right number of inputs, then everything is correct.
Yeah, that's what I'm remembering. Is that
parsing the file correctly?
That's how you knew we should do that, right? Was that we weren't getting the correct number of inputs?
Yeah, I mean, when I ran it locally, I got a different number than when I ran it on the HPCC. So that's how I figured that out. This is something else. So I'm going to look at the code that you gave me. I'm going to look at the raw code because I have no other choice. Look what you're driving me to.
That's bad news. That's Cliff. That's Cliff not being happy that he's got to look at my code.
CPP. All right. If you just sent me the old version of this code that didn't have that fix, then you're a terrible person. You're going straight to heck. And I don't even believe in heck.
Well, why don't I send you a new version of the code?
Well, you tried to use your new version and give you the same error. I'm getting the exact same error you're getting. So.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the wrong thing. That's why I was like, why does this code look familiar, but it doesn't work? Okay, code optimizer, and then you're using tournament optimizer.
Do you want to take the one? Do you want me to send you the one I have real quick so you can compare them?
I'm looking at what I have here to see if it's just missing the.
Oh, you're seeing if it's missing the thing we fixed already.
Yeah.
Okay. If not, let me know. I'll send you mine.
I have to find it. Move through the prompt. All right. So here is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Come on, where is it? Optimizer, force, blah, blah, blah. Look at all this crap.
I hope you guys are all having a good day out here. Also, just want to plug, this is what we do in Gather. It is a virtual office space. I'm really glad that you guys are here to hang out because I know that, we're always looking for places to hang, and sometimes if nobody's live, there's nowhere to hang. So come join us and Gather. We are going to go back to the ranch after my meeting with Cliff, and it's where Carrie Ann was playing cards. But yeah, I hope more and more people start to get and gather with us throughout the day, not just when we're streaming.
Scores. Force scores, food scores. Whole size vector with 4 elements. No, that's correct. All right, so it's not that. Well, I don't know what to say.
Do you think it's in the optimizer? Because one of the things we were talking about was rewriting the optimizer. It'd be a pain in the ass, but I'm certainly willing
I mean,
to
it's
do it.
in the optimizer. Berry World doesn't have a problem. It's definitely in the optimizer.
All right.
I mean, you could rewrite it without all this force and resist stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, because it could be. I don't know what it could be, right? But it could.
I mean, it could be one of the other
that's...
lists that's not sized correctly.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a write out of range. Almost certainly, it's a writing out of range.
Yeah. So.
And yes, a debugger would identify that you're writing out of range. So I mean, the other thing you could try to do is to compile it in debugger and see if it says you have some corrupted memory. That would point you right to the right line.
Could I do that locally,
yes.
or would I still need to debug it?
No. You could do that locally because that would show up regardless.
All right. Cool. Should I just? All right. So what do you think I should do? Should I try debugging it first, or should I just go ahead and rewrite it?
That's up to you. I don't know. I mean, the thing is, I can't advise you on
sure
debugging it. I could rewrite it, obviously. If you're going to rewrite it, you may introduce the same bug again. I mean, the thing is, if you were going to, I would, if you're going to rewrite it, then put down pseudocode, make it the simplest version, only put in what you absolutely need, and then write that, and test each piece as you put it in to make sure that it's doing what you expect it to do. Check the sizes of all your vectors, make sure that they're what you expect them to be. If you're going to use a debugger, I don't know, go look up debuggers. I don't know what IDE you're in. It may have a debugger.
VS Code has a debugger for C++. Yeah.
You could try that. It may or may not want to play nicely because of the CMake. I haven't tried it with the more recent versions.
Okay. If I the only thing I'm thinking, all right, so if I debug it, is there a situation where if it's running fine on the local machine, that's not helping us? Or
the debugger should find that you're writing out of memory.
Okay. Especially if I test it with the parameters and stuff.
It shouldn't matter. I mean, test it with 4, right? Test it with 4
foods and the seeds.
Because we know that tends to blow up quickly.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with that. Let's write code, baby. I mean, it's what we're here to do, right? So let's write. Like, I want data so badly. Like, I just, want to get this short paper out and get this going. And I feel bad. I don't want to keep, wasting your time with this. So, I mean, I could definitely say debug or rewrite, certainly by Monday, right? And maybe even sooner. Like, if I come up with something and it's having issues or I think it works, I'll send it over. And then you can, run it or whatever just to make sure it's good to go. I mean, I'm fine.
If you run it and it generates data, then
it's good. Yeah.
I mean, part of it is like I could help do more, but it's kind of like you have to. I think part of this is you need to suffer through doing this. The other part of it is you need to suffer through doing this so you get more
coding experience.
Conscientious. Well, you get more conscientious when you're coding, right? Like, these problems get really gnarly when you've gone too far without testing. Right. So like you need to know whatever, like, and if you kind of plugs like this sort of going to Stack Overflow and grabbing an algorithm and plugging it in, like that can work until it bites you in the ass.
Yeah, I don't think I have a lot of. I think most of this is basic stuff that we did and maybe got from the C++ book, but most of the stuff we wrote based on our basic stuff. But yeah, I will see. Stack Overflow can help with some of this stuff. But all right, I'm good to go with that. Actually, I think that's fine. I'm fine to do that. Because that was always our plan, right? We've tried to do all the other things, right? We were like, let's try to do all this stuff before we rewrite it, because we don't want to rewrite it if we can solve it easily. But if this doesn't work, then let's just go ahead and rewrite it, so we're not wasting any more time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead and try debugger. If you can try debugger and it works, it'll point you right to the problem.
Yeah. All right. So I'll try that first.
Interesting to know.
And then if not, then we'll just rewrite it.
Okay.
Thanks so much, Cliff. Before you go, I want to thank you again for helping me with the screen.
Well, thanks for thanking me.
Oh, you're welcome. But dude, it's awesome. Like it ended up being the right height. It looks great in the studio. I'm putting a couple of backdrops behind it and be ready to make some videos with it. So
nice.
Yeah. Also, you can verify for the audience that I am still a real person. I'm not using a doppelganger, and I'm actually, I do still reside in Central Michigan. Like, nobody's seen me.
In so much as I can adhere to the fact that my experiences represent something, Jay is real.
But yeah, nobody's laid eyes on me in a while, so I'm sure people. It's kind of a. I needed some help, bit of a wellness check. Make sure I'm okay. But appreciate you, Cliff. We'll see you on Monday.
Okay. All right. Yeah, and let me know if you get stuck or have questions.
Absolutely, man. Thanks so much. I'll see you later.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
All right, gang. I'm heading back to the ranch. Let me send Rodrigo a message real quick, because him and I are supposed to be meeting
plausible
at 3:30, and then we'll do this video. We're a bit early, so that's good. That's good. All right, let's put that down. We're going right back to this. Right back to the beginning. All right. We're back here. Let me mute MyronBot. That's going to be a disaster. Where's MyronBot? MyronBot's still here. All right, good. Turn your camera on. Nice. All right, let me send a quick message to my man Rodrigo. I already had Discord open. What did Rodrigo say? Oh, he sent me a message. I think that's the time we had, 2:30 Central. Let me, guys, I'm just checking to make sure I have my schedule for today. Rodrigo, oh, it's 2 p.m. Central, 2.
It's too terrifying.
And also, let me make sure Rodrigo. Yeah, I just messaged him. He's good. He said he's good. All right. We're ready to go. If anybody else wants to talk to me, go ahead and drop in to Gather. Let me just make sure I send Rodrigo the right link. This one. Just recopy. Nice. Oh! Two, three. What's today? Is it Wednesday, y'all? It's Wednesday. What's on my calendar? A meeting at 5. Yeah, that's fine. Cool. Here's the link, and the password is E5 for us. Oh. All right. Great. Let me switch over to our pixel scene, and we'll go here. All right, gang. So this was a video that we started jumping into last night when we were kind of between things on Rebekah's stream. And I felt like this really short video, it touches on so many of like the big hot button issues with Christianity. And unfortunately, we have way too many conversations about these things in our community. But the setup for this whole video I found really fascinating, kind of bunch of Christians sitting around in a circle with mask on, I guess some sort of button to indicate whether they agree or disagree with particular statements. Want to thank YouTube Punk for sending us this clip. It was really good. Also want to thank James for jumping on last night, and he was kind of holding it down with me, and we talked a little bit about some of these things. But I kind of thought, you know, I had more to say, and also I thought maybe, you know, I needed something to kind of review today for the show, and you know, there was just like no doubt in my mind that I wanted to revisit this video. So we'll do that as far as our show goes today, and then yeah, I'm gonna have to keep moving so that I can meet with Rodrigo. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this. I think this is like an intro. Oh, all right. This is an ad, so don't worry about the Nectar Love print stuff.
What if you could speak your mind without fear of judgment? We brought together 7 strangers, protected their identities.
Yes, people, please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Also, please share the link to the channel, you know, on your socials or wherever you think other people that are into this type of content, or, you know, just looking for a community that they could participate in. Appreciate that.
And created a space for them to be completely honest. What will be revealed when they take the mask off?
There is something wrong with LGBT people.
All right, pause the tape. One of the things that I have been thinking about lately, and this is going to sound weird, but I really do believe that this is one of the issues where religion is almost exclusively responsible for the problems we have with LGBTQ+. I think if we think about it, I'm sure there are people who are prejudiced against the queer community. I'm sure there are people who, you know, have their own personal or secular reasons for being bigoted in this way. But I really do feel that, and can we think about that, right? Like, imagine a world without the particular fervor of religious bigotry towards LGBTQ+ people. I absolutely, I feel like we don't talk enough about this. We don't talk enough about how religion, but in this case, Christianity is the problem. It is the problem. You are, oh, it's so apparent to me.
I'm going to say a strong no. Yes, I believe that homosexuality is a sin, but saying that like LGBTQ plus whatever people, there's something wrong with them as people, as human beings.
Hey,
That's a
Sean.
harsh statement. So it's
Lupin.
a hard topic.
This is a really sensitive topic because I know that a lot of LGBTQ people have been hurt by the church. They've been hurt by Christians. I personally have family members who identify as they, who are homosexual. While God hates sin, he loves the people and he loves the homo. I know
Hang on, there was important something here.
homosexuality is a sin, but saying that like LGBTQ plus whatever people, there's something wrong with them as people, as human beings. That's a harsh statement.
All right, now this is important to me because, again, we're not going to hear from everybody on every question, but I want to point out here that to me this is basically 100% disagreement with. This is 100% agreement with the statement that there's something wrong with LGBTQ people. First off, there's no such thing as sin grow up, right? So it's wrong, right? If you think, right, that, well, I don't hate the queer community, I just think what they're doing is sin. No, you're wrong. You're just wrong. First off, there's just no such thing as sin, right? And that's really important, gang. It's really important. Because when we let somebody say, oh, I just think their behavior is sin, you're basically letting them off the hook. You're letting them say, that they have a problem with something, but they haven't established that it's actually a problem. The other thing is they're acting as though you can isolate a person's sexual behavior and sexuality from who the person is, right? So when people say, no, I don't think there's something wrong with the queer community, but I do think, homosexuality is a sin, they're just not yet being honest with themselves about the fact that they are saying there's something wrong with LGBTQ plus people. Because if this was a straight couple, you wouldn't be saying there's anything sinful about them having sex. So there's nothing sinful about the gay couple having sex. And it is a continued form of hatred and bigotry and harassment to keep telling them that there's a problem with their behavior. You are basically being dishonest, because it's sort of like saying, I don't hate Jay Bundy, I just have a problem with him eating. Right? I don't hate black people, I just don't think they should be able to drink water. Right? If you are trying to isolate and disregard a part of someone's life and needs, then you are discriminating and being bigoted towards that person.
So it's a hard topic.
this is a really sensitive topic because I know that a lot of LGBTQ people have been hurt by the church.
Yeah, absolutely.
They've been hurt by Christians. I personally have family members who identify as they, who are homosexual. While God hates sin, he loves the people, and he loves the homosexual, and he loves the transgender because he died for them. But the problem that I do see with LGBTQ people is that the lifestyle, it does take away a lot of things. They're depressed, they're lonely all the time, and that's not the life that God called for you. When you receive Christ, the Spirit of God can deliver you from homosexuality. And I've seen—
I mean, if you don't like Sam Harris, don't listen to Sam Harris. But, you know, yeah, criticism of America is called Islamophobia, but as counter-apologists, we're very anti-Islam, and I don't feel like in this community criticizing Islam is called out as Islamophobia. I think that's something that happens in the news a lot, but I don't think, I don't see it as a problem. I think Islam needs to be criticized, and I hate to say this, but Islamic terrorism needs to be criticized, right? Like if there's particular problems with particular groups, yeah, you got to call that out. And I don't think that's Islamophobia. And I think most, reasonable Muslims and most reasonable ex-Muslims are happy to call that type of shit out, just like real Americans are happy to call out white nationalist terrorism for the terroristic threat it is. If it's a particular unique flavor of terrorism, we're happy to call that out.
It happen. People who identify as bisexual or homosexual, and God delivers them, and they no longer choose to identify that way.
One thing, the Lord says that if you have sinned against one law, you have broken all the laws. And so every single human being is wrong. Like, if you ask that question, homosexuality is wrong, well, sure. But are they a different type of wrong? No, they're not a different type of wrong. They are the same wrong as I am.
I feel like we tend to magnify the LGBTQ community. For example, I come from a Hispanic household, and sexual abuse is brushed under the rug so many times. Straight. But you choose to magnify, let's say, my gay cousin over my molester uncle. You know what I mean? There's something wrong with both.
And the question is then, why do we magnify the sin of homosexuality? It's because no one goes around saying murdering's okay, that theft is okay. But there are people going around saying, well, love is love and homosexuality is just love, and they're trying to justify it. And so the church has to do some sort of defense, and that's why this sin gets more attention than the others.
Yeah.
And so they can escape their shame not by marching down a street shouting pride, embrace who you are, look within. They can escape their shame by casting it on Christ and receiving his forgiveness.
Amen.
Women who get abortions are murderers.
It is God who gives and takes away life. Man or woman has no place taking a life that they didn't breathe into. There is no going around that one, I think, for Christians. You kill a baby, that makes you a murderer.
This topic, it gets me emotional because I've just seen people go through that. And and they feel it in their soul and in their spirit that it was wrong. And they deal with that pain and that shame and regret. My husband himself, him and his sisters, they are all a product of rape. And I mean, that's my husband. So to imagine that, like, he wouldn't be here if his mother didn't decide to keep them and raise them, it's sad to think about.
All right, there's something very important to consider in her testimony here, and it is this vicarious trauma, right? Where Christians are just fucking the worst. They're just the worst, and they're so bigoted about these things, right? And I used to say this all the time, like, you and I cannot relate to each other if the worst thing that ever happened to you is something that happened to somebody else, right? And I hate to say this, but a lot of Christians are privileged, right? They're in a privileged place in society, at least with regard to their religion, right? Setting aside whatever other privileges they may or may not have based on whatever other identities they have. Certainly Christianity is a privileged religion that just gets to openly hate and run shit at the same time, and it's just expected to be all good. But as a result of that, it's like they really take on this identity. Like, if you listen to the way she's talking at the beginning of this.
That makes you a murderer.
Because topic, it gets me emotional because I've just seen people go through that.
Right? Like, it gets emotional because I've seen people go. And again, look, I applaud empathy of people. I applaud anybody who feels another person's pain enough that you are, trying to make a difference in that person's life. But what Christians really want to do here, this feels like a very strong defense mechanism. They get so emotionally wound up about something. They're just so overcome with emotion. They're just so, they can't keep their shit together that you want to be like, calm down, calm down, calm down. Everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay, right? And then it's like you're reinforced and you're like, oh my goodness, abortion must be wrong because look how much trauma it caused this innocent young lady who isn't even talking about her own lived experience. And so I'm all for what makes me cry makes you cry. What when you see a hungry child on the street, you feel it in your gut. I'm all about that visceral level of empathy. Right, but it's way too far when it actually becomes you using this sort of emotional devastation about a life experience that isn't yours, when ultimately you're going to use that emotional trauma to get people away from a reasonable stance, right? So you're not using it really to empathize with women who have gone through abortion. You're not really using it because you care so much about all these unborn babies. You're really using it because you want a virtue signal about, how wrong abortion is. And, rather than people being able to challenge you like, yeah, you on that Christian bullshit, y'all need to grow the fuck up. Instead, you become so emotional about it that now all of a sudden it's like we have to respect that, this abortion issue, it just causes Christians so much trauma. Maybe we ought to just let it go. Maybe we really shouldn't have Roe v. Wade. Maybe we shouldn't have federally protect our rights to an abortion because them Christians, they're going to be crying a lot to their fucking shrinks and pastors. Christians can't handle shit, right? That's what bothers me about this, the virtue signaling of all of it. The other thing is, and I touched on this a bit yesterday, but cool, your husband, is the product and his sisters are the product of rape, but a lot of other people, don't want to make that choice. And to make it like, oh, because you are so glad that your husband was born, nobody else should be able to have access to abortion because what? They're just going to give birth to godly men who are going to be, the next version of your husband. Again, anytime somebody's getting a blowjob, anytime somebody's getting a hand job, anytime somebody's nutting in a condom, anytime people just don't fuck, right? There is the potential that some hero, my wife, the next president of the United States, the future fucking Pope himself or whatever the fuck, could be in that discarded semen, right? But somehow they want to argue that this is a reason we should not have reproductive rights, as opposed to just saying the truth, which is, hey, look, I'm glad that even though my husband's mother was raped, that she decided to carry that pregnancy to term. That's fine. You could feel that way, but you don't got to force everybody else to go through that.
And, sorry. And they feel it in their soul and in their spirit that it was wrong. And they deal with that pain and that shame and regret. My husband...
Also, quickly, I just want to say this. Legally, to me, murder, I just want to touch on this because you hear this come up a lot. I don't even know what what Google would say as the definition. An unlawful premeditated killing of one human being by another. Yeah, I guess that's what they're getting. I think legally, murder is usually requires an individual, right? So I've never seen abortion as murder because you don't have two legally distinct individuals. to me, that's always been the case. So it's kind of interesting that we do have this kind of, I guess, layman's definition, the unlawful, premeditated killing of one human being by another. But again, I don't think abortion is unlawful. And even if it becomes illegal, right, it would be unlawful by only statutorily. So it's a real issue that I think is a problem, because I think at the end of the day, murder is really weaponizing language here. And for Christians to pretend that there's no nuance here, I think is really destructive. But like I said yesterday, I'm just at a point right now where I'm willing to call a spade and say, yeah, that mother was a human being, is deciding she doesn't want that other human being to occupy her body anymore. And so they're ending a human life. I really don't have any problem with it. And again, I'm not pro-choice, I'm pro-abortion. When you think that that's what you want to do and you think that that's the best option you have, I think you absolutely should take it.
Him and his sisters, they are all a product of rape. And I mean, that's my husband. So to imagine that, like, he wouldn't be here if his mother didn't decide to keep them and raise them.
Yeah, Melody, I'm with you. At this point, I think all of those other situations are unfortunate, but I think it's a bunch of us sitting around. Look, we're not neuroscientists. Of course, babies develop. Of course, later the baby's more developed than it is early. But, and again, I do think, you're always going to see probably restrictions on it, and trying to get it done within those first 3 months, I think is probably a good way to go, right? Just because functionally, like from a practical standpoint, it's much easier and safer and less involved. But again, I just it's not my call. It's one of those issues where my call is that it's not my call, right? And I think there is a problem where a lot of us, like, I guess it's cool, like, I can't stop you from having an opinion, but do we really think that these issues should be about our opinions? Like, I really don't. So if you ask me what I think, cool, I'll tell you what I think, but at the end of the day, this just isn't my call. It should just be perfectly within someone's rights and choices. It should be a decision between that family and that family's medical team,
Maybe it was not in a good experience. Maybe you were raped. Maybe you were a victim to something abusive. Maybe it wasn't planned. But let me tell you something, God, he's never early, never late. He's always on time. And the fact that you were given this gift of life, and if you can't handle it or you can't take care of it, there are options.
Well, I'm just wondering then, what would you think of people who stand outside of abortion places and try to stop people?
It makes me so upset, like the people who just protest and try to shove and judge and condemn others. That is not love. That is not God. That is not how he would handle people. Jesus is very gentle, and he would not make them feel like they cannot come to the Father because they are in shame or not worthy.
I do.
Is this, I came to bring not peace but a sword? Jesus, who's so meek and mild? Ugh.
I want to address, I think there's a misunderstanding about what people do who stand out in front of abortion clinics. What they're doing is not abusing them, they're not attacking them, they're letting them know that there's options, telling them about crisis pregnancy centers, offering to adopt their children, explaining them what an abortion really is. They're doing really important work. And if we all believe that abortion is murder, and we all just said that we do, well then what it is mass murder. It's genocide in the United States. It's worse than the Holocaust. And so I wouldn't want to throw stones at someone who's out in front of the concentration camp saying, don't murder Jews. I would want to go alongside that person and applaud that person for being courageous. And I think that's really important work that all Christians should support to help try to fight abortion in this country.
Sorry, everything he said was wrong. James summarized last night. Just no. There's no comparing an abortion to the Holocaust. Just no. Just absolutely not. Also, the people outside abortion clinics are not offering support or loving arms for adoption. Matter of fact, most people who say that adoption bullshit, when they're flat out asked, would you adopt a baby? All of a sudden, they're, well, I've got my own. Well, sorry, I don't know that we really have the means for that. Da, 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 da. So they always got a solution that they ain't willing to participate in. And like, you know, as if. So again, he's clearly, like James said, he's either never been to one of these protests outside an abortion clinic or never seen one, even on TV. But he's just absolutely wrong about all this. Also, it's so funny because, again, so upset about the Holocaust, but who are the people denying the Holocaust these days? Usually a bunch of fucking Christians. Who are the people, again, why was there a Holocaust? You know, I to be honest with you, gang, yeah, as a Christian, I was a Christian, and as a Christian, I was all anti, you know, I obviously acknowledged the horrors of the Holocaust and thought it was terrible. But can we be real? Let's just be real, gang. The Holocaust happened largely due to the hatred and desire to exterminate Jewish people. Christianity at its core is anti-Semitic. Christianity, since the beginning of Christianity, has been accusing the Jews of murdering God. The whole story of Christianity is how the Jews got it fucked up. The Jews were wrong. The Jews aren't really the chosen people of God. We really are. When God comes, he's coming for the Christians. He isn't really coming for the Jews. He's basically going to treat Israel like one of these pagan nations he doesn't know anymore. They got too many fucking, like, no. I'm just not about Christians pretending like they're ethically the hero in stories about the Holocaust when really they're using one of the greatest crimes against humanity as some sort of bullshit ass talking point to support them taking our reproductive rights, which is ... another crime against humanity. So Christians, y'all just Christians from now on, Christians, just don't bring up the Holocaust around me. Just don't even go there. Just don't. Because I'm going to have to call you I'm going to have to pull your card on that shit. Don't even do that shit no more.
I have had sex outside of marriage.
Hell yeah. Now watch this. This is funny. Watch this. Bam, they all disagree. Okay. And then they change.
Everyone was doing it. We're on many cycles with that. Like, I've had an orgy with females. I've had, that one person you can just hit up anytime you want to and they're available. At some point you have to stop avoiding a sin because God hates not sinners, but the sin, because it comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And I'm now married and my husband abstained till marriage and he has had to deal with the repercussions of my sin in the past.
I told a story, but y'all, look, this shit happens from the pulpit. This is really bad because what happens is they feel a certain sense of shame. They feel shame about, and again, this is why Christianity is harmful. It just people literally feeling guilty about sex. And I'm sorry, bitch, like the world could use your help. I don't know when they made this video, probably was made a while ago. Oh no, it's from 2 months ago. All right, yeah, bitch, it's 2 months ago. Check it out, y'all. The world needs your motherfucking help. It's a motherfucking pandemic going on, and people still ain't vaccinated. It's motherfucking police murdering people out here. It's motherfucking LGBT hatred going on. They just took away our reproductive rights. Like, pick a fucking issue. It's a war being fought between Russia and Ukraine. It might be all types of other wars about to be fought. There's an insurrection from January 6th. The motherfucking insurrectionists are trying to obstruct justice and our ability to get justice for said motherfucking insurrectionists. The motherfucking insurrectionists have recently continued to be elected as the motherfucking lawmakers in the land in which they committed insurrection against. Y'all see what I'm getting at? There's a lot of real world problems going on. And these people literally want to sit around and talk about, how much shame and guilt and whatever they got because they had a little freaky when they was in college. It's ridiculous. And again, it makes you seem like a pathetic person who, again, from her stories, we could tell the worst thing that's ever happened to her is shit that's happened to somebody else. And these people ain't got nothing better to do than sit around in their privilege talking about their guilt and shame for like a problem that is totally only a problem in their heads. And then the worst part is they get in these fucked up ass relationships with these so-called godly people who basically amplify and intensify that shame. And who knows what's really going on, right? Like, she's got a sex drive, like probably a normal sex drive, had some experiences in college, probably learned a little bit about what she likes and doesn't like, and, learned how to, be sexual. She wants to be right, probably guilts herself into converting to Christianity at some point, probably because she felt guilty about, they made her feel guilty about shit in her past and how sinful and dirty she was. Finds a quote-unquote godly man who waited till marriage to have sex. So he don't know shit. He don't know shit. He ain't never go down on nobody. He ain't know how to make her climax. He probably ain't got no kind of fucking endurance. Like, he ain't never watched no porn, so he ain't had no ideas as far as no innovative positions or no freaky shit to try, right? So then she's always having to, like, come up with some shit. Why don't we try this? Have you ever done this? What do you think about this? Every time she try to come up with something, she just try to get a little bit more pleasure, a little bit more satisfaction into the goddamn marriage. What this motherfucker talking about? Well, godly people don't do that. We only do it in missionary like this. Well, that you might have done that freaky shit when you was a nasty hoe in college, but we don't do that here, right? Like, so he's just laying all this guilt and shame. She's just trying to get her rocks off in a married type of way. You understand what I'm saying to you? And now he's just constantly guilt tripping her. Oh, it's gotta be fucking disaster.
Yeah, I wasn't saved until I was 20.
Missionary with the lights off. There you go, Cameron.
I did have sex outside of marriage, and even when I was first becoming Christian, I would hear people say, oh, you can't have sex outside of marriage. And I said, okay, well, I'll do everything else, but I won't do that one thing because that's a really hard thing to give up.
When you have sex with somebody, it's really hard to move on from that. You start feeling all types of things with yourself, and it's just remembering that God doesn't say this to be mean or to be a dictator, but to protect you.
Yeah, if I can add to
God
that,
is
to be
not
completely
a
honest with you,
dictator. Wow.
I'm scared of sex. I had a very traumatic experience when I was younger where I've had family members intend to take advantage of me. And because of that traumatic experience, I just have had that fear to be enclosed with just one man in a room.
Even though I have not lost my virginity, pornography has been something that has been rampant in my life. And
this is also sad too, right? Because and I've dealt with this with trying to date Christians myself, where I feel like their inability to experience healthy intimacy absolutely devastated any potential for a relationship. And it's usually because of some real broken type of ideation that forms in their development. With the one woman, that's really sad. Sounds like she's been the victim of something terrible. And never really learned how to cope or never really learned how to deal with it. And now is terrified of intimacy. And again, what does Christianity have to offer her? Right? Like, nothing. Probably literally reinforcing the idea that she shouldn't be sexual anyway because she doesn't have a husband. So It would be so much better for this woman to get with a cognitive behavioral therapist, be able to really, I don't know if she needs to revisit the past or otherwise. It's clearly something that needs to be dealt with. But get some professional help, get some counseling, maybe get in group, maybe find a community, right? There's totally communities of people who have been through these things, survived these things, and can help her, reconstruct a healthy life where she can be seen and loved. And it's a whole need in her life that she's just shut off completely based on that experience. And the church has just got nothing to offer her. And then this guy, he's really, he hasn't even had sex, y'all. He's a fucking virgin, right? And he's just wrecked. Again, nigga could be out here helping us solve some real fucking problems in the real fucking world. And instead, this mope is just so sad. Yeah, they get biblical counseling, AR. He's so sad that he touches himself. When I think about you, I touch myself, and then cry to Jesus about it. And this is the real damage. And we kind of stopped in here because it was such a segue to Rebekah's porn discussion. I don't really know how far we got. Maybe we got further than this. I guess we got a little further. I don't know. But this is what I was talking about. This is really damaging to people. And I have seen so many young people, but young men especially. I think young men, maybe they watch a little bit more porn or struggle with it a bit more, maybe because it's more openly discussed amongst men. Certainly, I've heard young ladies talk about struggling with porn. It's not like they don't watch it. So it's really sad. And this is truly, truly damaging. So again, not only is he not part of the problem, not part of the solution, he's part of the problem. But then again, he's just himself tortured and wrecked, and he's experiencing psychological trauma, again, over a problem that is only a problem in his motherfucking head.
That sexual sin as well is truly, in my spiritual experience, has been almost equal. Going wrong against God, going wrong against self, that brings so much shame, so much guilt. But when the forgiveness comes, we see the true glory of God, because we see how broken we were and how reformed we are through Christ.
Anyone who isn't Christian is going to hell.
Yeah, for me, this one's a pretty easy one. John 14:6, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. If we're Christians, when we say we believe in the Bible, either we believe what Jesus said or we don't.
Yeah, pastors need to be more, equal. They need to get up there and they need to start preaching against porn and romance novels. You're right, Carrie Ann. If they got up there and preached against porn and romance novels, they'd have everybody feeling bad. You're slacking. You're right. They focusing a little bit too much on the men and the visual side of the spectrum. If you really got them romance novels in there, you be getting everybody.
Yeah, it's a tough sentence to answer, and to be honest, I suppose I can't just flatly say yes or no, so it's tough. But with that being said, what does Christian really mean?
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, I said no because everybody uses the word Christian now, right? I believe there's Christians who aren't going to go to heaven.
What about people who subscribe to say Judaism or Islam?
It goes back to the Bible. It says that to go to heaven, you have to confess with your mouth and believe in your heart that Jesus Christ is Lord. And there's a lot of people who don't identify as Christians who believe that. What if there's a Satanist on his deathbed? At that moment, they confess with their mouth and they believe in their heart. Like, they didn't live their whole lives being Christian. Are they going to go to hell? I don't believe that. So I think to say that if you're not Christian, you're going to go to hell, it's kind of an absolute that drives more people away from Christianity than brings them in.
I'm thinking of babies that have died, and I don't think that they would go to hell.
I mean, to be honest with you, So I don't think they should ban any of this stuff. I really like porn, and I really like, the idea of people reading whatever the fuck they want to read. But to be quite honest with you, I think churches that are consistent about this type of stuff are actually very against romance novels. And to be honest, they do consider them a form of pornography because they're very much, they're very much there just to stimulate desire. They are porn for a different brain. And so if you actually go to a church that's serious about this issue, especially if I play drums at so I know I play drums at a church, but you got to remember that church is centered around starting a college ministry. And I also played drums for the college ministry, which is also appropriate, right? Because I was a grad student. So I was technically a student. And even now it'd be appropriate because I'm staff and faculty, right? So I'm part of the university community. But anyway, it's really different because I got to be part of the campus ministry. And so I see not just the messaging as it's delivered to sort of like the broader community, in the Sunday church on Sunday morning, but I'm also with the church on Thursday night when they're ministering to the college ministry. And then I also went on retreats with our college ministry. I went to conferences with our college ministry. And I spent a lot of time with the students that were in our ministry. I mean, a lot of people I became friends with. That was what they moved to this state for. They moved, long way just to move here and serve college students. And so it is different, gang. And if you get the opportunity to be around a college ministry or to participate in one, even as an atheist, I recommend that you do so if you can, because you'll realize it's a total different messaging towards young adults, and it's a really pivotal time in their life that they're trying to get them basically. I used to joke, call it acquire the fire, but there's actually a conference some of my church friends used to go to with that name. But they're trying to get you to acquire the fire as a young, unattached adult. And a big part of that is sexual immorality because of the fact that people are away from home for the first time. They have a lot more freedom for the first time. And sexual exploration and activity is a ubiquitous part of college life, right? Like even to the point where as, staff and faculty, we always have to be aware of, relationship violence and certain sexual issues that happen on campus. And we have to make sure that there are, testing and contraception resources available to students. So you literally can go to a college campus and people be like, free condoms, free condoms, free condoms. Please go get tested over at the clinic. Free condoms, free condoms. We got some AIDS testing over there for you. Free condoms, right? So if you're a Christian, right, you can just show up like, oh my God, they're sexing the children. They're grooming them into sexual immorality. That girl looks like a porn star right there. She looks like a porn star. She looks like a porn star. She looks like a porn star, right? So your mind's exploding. But yeah, folks, when they really get into the nitty gritty of it, especially as they're ministering to a broader audience, not just the males, they definitely include romance novels in that porn shit because because the real problem is masturbation, right? And all of this thing. So they have a problem with the fantasies. They have a problem with the cosplay. They have a problem with all that shit. So yeah, they're definitely going, you shouldn't have that either.
Oh, because they didn't even know how to make a sound.
God gives us a choice whether we want to spend eternity with him
Can you become
or
a
whether we
moderator?
don't. And that's a free will choice that he gives to all of us.
Not yet.
We all have to accept that we all are sinners. And the wages of sin is death. The wages of sin is separation from God. But I've heard people's stories who didn't even know the Bible and had near-death experiences where they actually went and visited hell the way that it was described in the Bible.
I'm scared of dying.
To live is Christ and to die is gain. That's my father's favorite verse. We are gaining eternal life. We are gaining a new faith. We are gaining a new body. We are gaining everything. Not that being here doesn't have its joys, but to be with him obviously is
the best. Yeah. I always say I can't.
And again, what? What do you mean to be with him is the best? So, a couple things don't make sense about this. How do you know? Like, this is a crippling deficiency of Christianity. This insistence that, we're just so certain. Oh yeah. I mean, I like being alive a little bit. Don't get me wrong. Ice cream's good. You know, making love to your spouse, depending on who you ask, is good. And they love pot roast and church dinners and whatever the fuck. But man, that life to come, nothing sweeter than that life to come. So how are you so sure about this when we don't even know that this is a thing? We don't even know that this is real. They don't sound reasonable. They really don't. But I love the mask off vibe because you heard them. They were all yesing and amen and finishing each other's sentences. And, you know, they're really gonna reinforce this notion here. And it just scares me because this is the cult shit 101, right? Like how can we treat these people like they're not in a fucked up ass cult when they're literally sitting here fantasizing all about the joys of the life to come. Yeah, I mean, we're not satanic. I don't know what you mean about Satan.
Wait to die. My mom hates it.
That's
always saying, it's like, God,
crazy
take me
Christian
now.
circle jerk.
Not suicidal.
What's up, James?
We're always
No,
saying,
but I get what you mean. I know what I get what you mean.
my sister and I, we're always like, God, just come take us. Like, we don't want to be here anymore.
I look forward to the day where I see the saints gathered worshiping Christ, and I can cry about it. It is going to be so surreal and so beautiful, and death is just the way to get there.
Yeah. And they're just fantasy. It's just a fantasy.
Just going to be so surreal and so beautiful, and
so they all said they disagree.
My non-believer.
Y'all, that's some cognitive dissonance right there. Their entire religion is based on the fact that they're scared of dying. That's the whole point of all of it. Where are you going to go when you die? When are you going to go? You know you're going to die. You know you're going to die. Where are you going to go when you die? Where are you going to go when you die? Where are you going to go? But you know you're going to die. Yeah, I don't want to be the one to touch, but you know you're going to die, right? Where are you going to die? Where are you going to go? Right? Their whole identity is based on fear of dying. But the cognitive dissonance and the cult fumes have them literally sitting in a circle, all agreeing that they're not, or all disagreeing with the statement because they're not afraid of dying. Which also is something else. We're gonna rewatch this little segment. This segment is crazy right here. We're also gonna rewatch the segment with somebody else in mind. And thanks to James Apperson for picking up the ball and running with it too. But this community is still not talking enough about my main man, Christopher Hitchens. We got to get back to Atheist Crew Book Club, but that was the first thing we did. Is God Is Not Great by Christopher Hitchens. This whole religion is about the end of the world. The whole thing is based on their fear of death, but they've made the great compromise. They've exchanged anxiety of the death in this life for anticipation of the afterlife. So that's the deal. It is an apocalyptic cult. It is a death cult. and it's interesting that to hear that this is one of the things that even more so than sex outside of marriage and LGBT and abortion, that they all agree that fuck this life, it's all about the next one. Y'all, this has to scare us. And it also has to be the reason we stop compromising. I am a counter apologist. I am here to tell people the time to stop being a Christian is today. The time to start fighting religion is right now. This is a death cult that fantasizes about us meeting our end. Yes, the end of their life, but the end of life writ large as well. Look at this. Look at this.
To live as Christ.
Also, y'all notice the fucking cowards who wait for everybody else before they go ahead and make sure they got the right answer. Like, y'all see that too. Like, we breaking down, me and James around, we gonna break down the real social dynamics for you. You know, we got game out here. You ain't gonna run no game on us Christians. Y'all ain't slick. We pick up on all this little shit. All this little nuance we're watching. Look at the timing. Look at the timing. Look. Laggers. Look at the laggers. Come on, y'all. Y'all didn't answer right away. Y'all laggers.
That's my father's
favorite. Those are the people who wanted to make sure they had the safe response.
Verse. We are gaining eternal life. We are gaining a new faith. We are gaining a new body. We are gaining everything. Not that being here doesn't have its joys, but to be with him.
Because I left my weed in my room. I'll be right back.
I always say I can't wait to die. My mom hates it. I always saying it's like, God, take me now. Not suicidal, but we're always saying,
but I get what you mean. I know what I get.
No, my sister and I, we're always like, God, just come take us. Like, we don't want to be here anymore.
I look forward to the day where I see the saints gathered, worshiping Christ, and I
Gang, y'all gotta give it up for James Apperson, because James was basically identifying that not only are they two-faced with us, and they be bullshitting when we around. When we around, they be bullshitting, y'all. They be trying to sound so reasonable, and they love the LGBT, and they're cool with atheists, and as long as you're a good person in your heart, you're gonna be good to go, and they love it. But boy, when they get around each other, that's what I tell you, you gotta do the late night counter apologetics. Okay, you gotta go into the sermons, you gotta go into the circles, you gotta penetrate their safe spaces, okay? Not so that you could be disruptive, but so that you can observe how they talk and behave when they're safe amongst themselves. And this motherfucker is literally sitting up here, and they are all amen and hallelujahing. What, y'all? I can't wait to die. I can't wait to die? Yes, I'm not suicidal. I'm not suicidal, but I can't wait to die. Could y'all imagine my bipolar ass saying that to my therapist and her not calling some fucking assistance? Yeah, you understand what I'm saying to you, y'all? Look, I was a peer listener. You know what a peer listener? Y'all had peer mediators in your school. Look, they sent us out in the woods for a whole bunch of days, and they made us, we did all this training. Y'all see all the training I've had to do shit. My whole life has been preparing me for this goddamn streaming community. But seriously, they sent us in the woods. We learned how to listen to everybody's sensitive stories, and you have to keep it all in confidence, right? So we're the people who, like, you can go to in school and you could talk to about anything going on in your life, anything at all. All you got to be like is, I need to talk to a peer listener, and then they pull one of us up, whoever's on the fucking rotation, they'll pull us out of class. It don't matter. Anything you got to talk to, you can always go talk to a peer listener. And we cannot say shit about what you tell us. That shit is always, this is crazy to me, y'all. I've been recently talking to y'all more and more about different training experiences I've had over my life, but they all do really make me realize that I've been preparing for this type of work. But seriously, so even as a teenager, I was getting trained in peer mediation. But this is the one exception. This is the one exception. The one exception is if you say some shit that makes it sound like you are in danger, you are about to harm yourself, right? That's the exceptions. If it sounds like somebody about to hurt you, you about to hurt somebody else, or you about to hurt yourself, yeah, all of a sudden we turn into snitches. Yep, all of a sudden we gotta let the administration know. Yeah, because the school has legal responsibilities. Yeah, you can't come up to a peer mediator talking about some, oh, I'm not suicidal, but I just can't wait to die. Yeah, we red flagging that shit. Yeah, I ain't gonna have me losing my certification up in this bitch. I can tell you that right now. Okay? Come to me talking about something you can't wait to die. Red flag their ass. Yep, we gonna have to talk. Yep, we got to get on this shit right now. So we've accepted this, y'all. We've literally accepted this cult. They gotta say this shit again. Say this shit again. I gotta hear this shit again. I cannot believe they really say this shit, y'all. They really, God damn, this video's good, YouTube punk.
To live is Christ and to die is gain. That's my father's favorite verse. We are gaining eternal life. We are gaining a new faith. We are gaining a new body. We are gaining everything. Not that being here doesn't have its joys, but to be with him obviously is the best.
Yeah. I always say I can't wait to die. My mom hates it. I always saying it's like, God, take me now.
My mom hates
Not
it.
suicidal, but we're always saying, but I get what you mean. I know what I get. No, my sister and I, we're always like, God, just come take us. Like, we don't want to be here anymore.
I look forward to the day where I see the saints gathered worshiping Christ, and I could cry about it. It is going to be so surreal and so beautiful, and death is just the way to get there.
Yeah. I fear losing my non-believer friends and family.
It would be the greatest pain to go to heaven and not see your siblings there.
I mean, my dad isn't saved, and half my family are Catholic, and I can't imagine a more miserable place than away from the perfect creator of all things.
All right. Now, let me break down the Christianese here. Y'all know I'm also, I forgot to put the screen back up. Y'all know I'm also an expert in Christianese translation. Every single Christian believes in hell, right? They all absolutely believe in hell. And what they've learned is that the traditional imagery of hell is not palatable to most people. So a lot of them really grew up on the fire and brimstone. Why? Because that's what the fucking Bible talks about. Like, that shit don't just come from nowhere. The Bible makes it sound like hell's a very bad place. The Bible's very explicit, right, about Jesus casting people into the valley of Gehenna, all of that shit. It's very clear about, Hades or whatever the fuck. That doesn't sound like any place you want to go anytime soon, right? Like, it's very clear about eternal torment. Very clear about it. But they didn't like that, right? So a lot of them kind of went away from that. They went away from literal images of hell. Some of them go to eternal conscious torment, which to us sounds just like hell, fire and brimstone, but a lot of them will tell you, like, no, it's this different thing. It's just this weirdness. It's just this state of awfulness, right? And now a lot of them, it's funny, especially comes up in this tip with the conversation about non-believers, conversation about their family and friends. All of a sudden now they got to be like, well, it would just pain me so much for them to not be there. But wait a second. After the last question, y'all was sitting up here talking about you can't wait to die, you can't wait to go to heaven, you can't wait till this is all finally over, you can't wait. Oh, but now you worried you're going to show up to the party and your friends and family wasn't invited. Interesting. But you see the pacification of Christianity. You see the more extreme imagery losing favor. And so now they have to hit us with this very ambiguous fucking language. But I gotta be honest with you, y'all. It's hell. They all believe in hell. You have to remember that for them, the very concept has always been simple. It's the worst place you can imagine. It's beyond the worst place you can be at. Whatever you can imagine that ain't really hell, hell is worse than that. And the worst part about hell is that it lasts forever. So what these Christians have done is they don't want to be the Christians that have to say, oh, you're going to burn in a lake of fire. Maybe they don't like that particular imagery. Maybe they don't even want to tell you that you're going to be tortured and tormented forever because they don't like the way that sounds either. But now they're just going to put it to you as what they believe is that you will be eternally separated from, the almightiest, mighty, powerful, lovingest love, most perfection and all of that shit, right? And then you get the Rebekahs who just want to cuck all the way out and just say, oh, well, I think you just die, you just get destroyed, and then, the rest of us get to live in God's kingdom forever or whatever, right? But there's no way around the fact that they all believe in a final judgment. And they believe at the final judgment, they're going to be eternally rewarded and live forever. And the people who don't believe or don't believe the right way are not. And they believe that is the fucking ultimate reward and punishment eternally. No matter how they spin it, they believe they're going to get the greatest fucking imaginable, eternal fucking joy, privilege, pleasure, honor, glory, esteem, virtue, value. Everything's going to be fucking amazing forever in the presence of their sweet, sweet God who chose them. And at the end of the day, you're not. And you not is the worst thing they could possibly imagine, right? So all these guys are doing is saying, I'm leaving it blank. I don't know what it is, but it's the worst thing I can imagine. I don't know what the fuck gonna happen to my Catholic father, but the nigga ain't gonna be in heaven, and it's the worst thing I can imagine. And if my friend ain't there, it's gonna be the worst thing I can imagine. If my mom's not there, it's gonna be the worst thing I can imagine. And they know that the worst thing that they can imagine happening to you is going to then be an eternal state. So I really get sick of the fucking song and dance of them picking and choosing Bible verses and how they particularly exegete the text and where their epistemology lies with regard to ECT and all of this fucking nonsense. Look, at the end of the day, y'all all think the final judgment is coming. You're going to be good to go forever. We're going to be fucked to go forever. And y'all can go fuck yourselves.
John 6, Jesus says that of all those that the Father has given me, I will not lose one. And so God is faithful and just, and I trust God that He will save all of His people.
With him,
I do pray for my loved ones who are unbelievers. I share the gospel with them. But ultimately, I know it doesn't depend on me. Salvation is in His hands, so it's not for me to fear or worry.
In the Bible, it says that it's God's will for everyone to be saved. But at the same time, the truth is that not everyone will. When I was an unbeliever, I would always wonder, why are Christians always wanting to shove their beliefs down my throat? We know what the Bible says, that people will go to hell. And if we don't tell people about it, that blood is almost on our hands. And I do fear that there will be people that I know and love who won't ever come to God, but I know that there is still hope for them.
We'll have you put your masks back on.
Damn, I think that was fantastic. I really like that. I'm gonna sub to that channel. That was good. That was fucking good. Thanks so much for that recommendation, YouTube Punk. And man, it definitely reinforces some of the things that I've been trying to do on this channel. Like, the whole goal of starting Late Night Counter Apologetics was to do my own version of, PineCreek's Why I No Longer Go to Church sermons like these. And what I really valued about that was it felt like that's the perspective I always wanted to show people. Like, I always wanted to show people, I wish I had like that Christian drumming channel, right? Because man, it would be crazy if y'all would have been with me on my journey playing at that church. And I'm really hoping that someday, I'm comfortable with large crowds and mass gatherings again, and we can, really make playing live music a big focus of the channel, and I'd be fine with that, going back towards playing at a church or whatever. But man, that perspective of sitting in the church on Sunday morning, and really hearing how Christians talk about all of these things when they're amongst each other, and they feel like it's a safe space for them to speak their beliefs without filter. You hear some things that are really alarming, but you hear them in a way that's really forthright, and you hear them really say it, right? And like, because they wouldn't come around us saying, I can't wait to die. I really just get sick of this life, and I just wish Jesus would take me already. They know that sounds Looney Tunes to us, but get them around each other, and they're all ready to big that up. And so it's then easy to be like, yeah, that's that death cult shit, And I know for a lot of people, they can't tolerate going back to church or participating in a church for many very legitimate reasons. So it's great to be able to bring that type of content to the stream, right? Because then we can share it that way, and we can hear it together. So really like that. Also just love that whole, allowing people to be massed together, and then, they sit down. The funny thing is, I bet you with them Christians, I bet you they unmasked off camera, right? Because I think the masking was for the benefit of the audience on the other side of the broadcast, but it wouldn't surprise me at all, just because of the way we heard their answers go, if they just all took their masks off and prayed together and had a little Christian fellowship or whatever. I would have been very interested to see what happened with those people when the camera stopped rolling. That would have yeah, that'll be interesting. But yeah, I really enjoyed that video. And hope we can do more stuff like that. Also, it's funny that for some reason made me think of my peer listening training. I hadn't thought about that in quite a while. But actually, it was a very fun trip. That was almost like a church experience too, right? Where you go out camping with a group and you're all having this intense bonding experience, and you know, it's just something about that. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up. I don't think there's anybody here that I'm missing. Yeah, so everybody's accounted for. So yeah, come link up with us and gather. I guess, well, I have a meeting with Rodrigo, so I don't know. I could stream my meeting with Rodrigo. But nah, I'd rather do it in Gather. We'll do it in Gather. Come hang out and Gather. We're in the Pinochle Lounge, and we can have YouTube on, and we can have some fun. And Rodrigo and I are going to meet in about 30 minutes or so. I'm going to start taking care of some stuff behind the scenes. I'm still working on renovating the studio, and I really need to shoot the next iteration of our Avita Ed video, and we're gonna have to start making those. So I've got to get these room dividers set up, and we're still yeah. But man, everything's coming along great. I've also ordered some cords. I've got to try to get this camera going so I can stream with it, but it looks amazing. Those you know, this is the same camera Derek has, well, more or less. I have the Canon EOS R5. He has the Canon EOS R5C. Mine is made for. They're really the same exact camera. They just have his has more video capabilities. Like mine has I don't think like a 30-minute recording limit, but it also has more image stabilization, and I have really shaky hands. So, but eventually I'm gonna get both of them. But yeah, that's why our camera looks so cool. So yeah, I need to get that set up. It hasn't been, but yeah, we're gonna use it for the video, and we'll use it on the channel when we make videos. But I kind of want to try to also use it on the stream. So I'm gonna try to have that set up. I also need to get my wheel back in here so we can start playing truck simulators and racing sims, and also want to integrate the wheel into the stream control. So plenty to do. The new audio mixer still isn't wired up, although it looks fantastic, and it's all sitting over here all nice and pretty. But yeah, we've got a lot done, and we've got a lot more to do. So yeah, I'm gonna sign off for the day.
The objective world and the narrative world touch.
And yeah, appreciate you guys. Let me go through a little bit. I'm just still scrolling through the chat. Yeah, appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much for being active in the chat. Really appreciate it. Chat's been on fire this stream. It's been really, really fun. Thanks again to YouTube Punk for the video. Come link up with us and gather. We're at the Bundy Ranch. If you don't have our information, join the Discord and send me a private message with your email address, and I will send you an email with the Discord information. And otherwise, if you already have your shit, get in here and find Biden's documents. Find Biden's documents. Find Biden's documents. In the name of the Darwin, the Dawkins, the Christopher Hitchens, science bless you all. Poof.
Zach? Why she wanna leave me alone? Saying all I do is wrong. No rights when they been left turns. Playing that she gotta let it burn. Saying that the house not a home. Sunshine cause she heard it all before. Sometimes she don't wanna be alone. Most times she don't want me gone. She don't know I try my all. She don't know I sprung in the sun, but I'm going in the winter, so we good to the fall. Remember how I told you I get it and I win. Now I'm got it, you ain't answering my call. the slide, we smoking Zah. Stop acting shy, cause you a demon when I get between your thighs, girl. You like my rib, you know I need you by my side, girl. It's time to roll, she tryna ride, we smoking. Stop acting shy, cause you a demon when I get between your thighs, girl. You like my rib, you know I need you by my side, girl.
We smoking that side, I'm tryna get high. She said that she not ready for love, stop wasting my time. I got demons in my closet, I can't hide. I did all my exes wrong, they wish I died. Damn, I tried. They won't believe me when I say this. Oh my God, what a blessing. Hello Phoenix, that's my twin. I told these hoes they won't get my heart again, not again. Cause they went missing when I needed just a friend.
They went missing, yeah, they all went missing. They don't want no smoke, they hit the blunt and started tripping. My daughter about to be 5, I ain't got no time to be bitching.